Sometimes everything goes according to plan. Sometimes they go horribly. Join us while we tell tales of games gone wrong. This is Curmudgeons and Dragons RPG Horror Stories.
Hello, adventurers! Welcome to another Curmudgeons and Dragons. My name is Jason Portizo. Today I am joined by Mr. Jim Crocker.
Hello, how we doing?
And guest contributor, Ms. Melissa Mayhew.
Hi.
Melissa's in a band called Action Rabbit, as well as a band called Sour Candy. Has been a friend for, 10 years we've known each other now since I recorded your old band.
Yeah, I think we're coming up on a little over a decade now.
Something like that, yeah. So I've been recording Melissa's music for a long time. She's incredible. She also, technically you have contributed to the show before, maybe not as directly, but when we did the Bob's Burgers episode, I did consult with you about food-based D&D mechanics.
I love
Melissa
that episode. That was wonderful. I listened to
Yeah,
the Batman one
of course,
as well.
That's your favorite episode.
Well, anything Bob's Burgers is my favorite.
Oh, of course. But in addition to being a talented musician, Melissa is also a talented chef and an avid D&D player. So I've been looking forward to getting her on the show somehow, some way. For 93 episodes now. Is this episode 94? I think. So Josie's still on sabbatical. She'll be back soon enough. But this is who we got today, and it's gonna be awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So especially with getting guests on, we've had my friend Glenn on the show before telling one of his stories. My favorite place to get D&D and RPG horror stories, of course, we got the subreddit, we've got places like 4chan and all kinds of things where they show up, but the best place to get a real true horror story is straight from the source.
Yeah, I think my first episode on the show, you had me tell one of my personal horror stories from a bad Gen Con game from many years ago.
That was great. What was the dwarf's name?
Flapjack the mage. Yeah.
Poor Flapjack. That was a great story. That episode is called Flapjack is Dead. So go ahead and find that episode. Melissa, you've got a story for us from one of your games.
Yes. So I've been playing. I started playing D&D with 3.5. So like 15 years ago. But this is from one of my most recent campaigns. I was a player in this campaign, 5th edition. It was like a moral quandary, and that doesn't often come. Yes,
love a good quandary.
Dilemma.
Yes, and a player felt very uncomfortable. Let me set the scene for you and take you there.
Gotta watch out for those quandaries before they turn into kerfuffles.
This unfortunately, yeah. Well, just sit and wait. So this player, will refer to them as their character name for this story. Bertrand was having issues with one of the DM's original mechanics. We needed vehicles because we were traversing a very large set of land, and this technology wasn't very advanced, so vehicles, and there were no horses for some reason, so like there was not a lot of vehicle options. But we came across these things called soul coins. Now it's kind of been implemented in other ways, but when we were playing this, nothing like this had been implemented yet. This was probably like 6 years ago that this occurred.
This is a homebrew mechanic?
Yes, a homebrew mechanic. So these soul coins could activate a vehicle which could traverse very long, like unnavigatable areas with ease. The quandary, however, comes from obtaining the soul coins. These soul coins were able to be obtained by killing people and not sending them to the afterlife. Their souls were trapped in these coins, and the devils would trade them.
They're like NFTs, but like not as evil.
this was before NFTs or before the general public knew what NFTs were.
Did
but
you invent NFTs? Is
right.
this your fault? Is it your fault that I have to talk to the worst people in the world at parties now?
Honestly, it all comes back to D&D one way or another.
I quit.
So like this player would get increasingly uncomfortable with obtaining or having anything to do with these soul coins, and the game traversing the terrain became very reliant on these mechanical vehicles activated via soul coins, and it did end up escalating one day because the DM didn't the player reached out to the DM and the DM didn't respond in a very mature or empathetic way. They couldn't identify why they were upset. So it did lead to a big blowout. Eventually we all got down on the table, talked about it, and everyone listened with open ears, because he couldn't understand why in a fictional game, the moral dilemma was still present.
Mm-hmm.
However, after the big blow up, we all are still friends to this day. Same group, 7 years, every Thursday night. The DM listened, took away the mechanic, reworked it. So it's a horror story in that someone was really affected and felt threatened by a mechanic, but then the DM decided to listen and change the mechanic to make the player feel more included. And then to make it up for them, I believe they gave them a I can't remember the name of it, but the merciful end. When they had a quarter health left, they would automatically be sent to the afterlife whenever he used it. So we were able to navigate it as a group successfully, and I'm really proud of us as players and friends.
So we got rid of the mechanic. Was it replaced with anything else?
With traversing, yes, we were able to get more natural animals that allowed us to travel the lands, and the people responsible, or the characters responsible for the soul coins. The rest of the players got on the player who had a problem's side, and we executed everyone who used the soul coins. We eradicated the system. We decided that it was not okay.
Well, a little murder sometimes solves problems.
Yeah, and I know the DM really wanted us to like the character who was in charge of it, and we just were not being swayed by any fact or fiction. Mm-hmm. We made up our minds.
That's a good ending. But it's also something that could have been prevented with safety tools up front, right? If you knew how to, if that character could say no right up front, or the player could say no right up front, and then you had a way to discuss that right away.
Yes.
Before it spiraled into them getting upset and I'm going to quit the game unless it gets better, kind of thing. Like that. And it's great that you worked it out. But to the extent that there's a moral there,
a lesson learned,
you could have done differently. Yeah, it's have those tools ready to go in advance so that you don't have to wait until it gets so bad that it's discussion or the campaign ends or somebody quits.
Yes.
But just the first time it comes up that someone's uncomfortable with. Yeah.
How long was that player stewing on this?
I would say a good 8 sessions.
Okay. And you play once a week.
The player didn't stew on it. The player made their needs known. And the issue lasted for about 8 sessions is what I'm trying to say, before it was rectified.
So 2 whole months, and you figure maybe 1 or 2 for them to kind of realize what this is and realize it's a bad thing. And then, we'll say the other 6 or so. They were very
tolerant considering how morally upset they were, and the fact that we came together and moved on past it as a group. That's why I tell the story to this day. It's not all perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, even though it's a game, it's not always fun. But as long as you, like Jim said, long as you set up certain parameters, you have better odds of success. Using that information that we learned, we now have certain triggers that we try to avoid in games, or just topics in general that we know to steer clear from. And we all bring a big level of respect to the game because we all value each other's time immensely.
Yeah. And like Jim said, that can be brought up at the top of the game, or when a new player joins, or even at certain points in the middle if we need to. But having a way of communicating things like that directly with the DM is important to get established right in the beginning.
And there's a couple of DM Academy lessons there too. One of which is that DM just turned on a dime and said, "Oh, you guys want to murder everybody doing this? Sure, let's do that." Just kind of like turn the campaign to go in that other direction. But the other thing that I imagine here is this like just feels so much like somebody is coming up with their campaign and they just like overthink it because they're like, okay, how are they going to travel from place to place? Okay, I want to have mystical vehicles and they're powered by souls, but the souls are in coins and you have to kill people and put their souls into coins to do it. And then 8 sessions later, the player's like, could we just use horses? Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Boo, horses, boo.
I think what we honestly ended up using was like little dinosaurs or something
Even
in
better.
the end.
That's
like
even better. Like
it was a great
velociraptors
solution.
is
That's what it was. Yes, it was little, and because he refused to use the mechanic and was like, "I'm going to follow in a velociraptor," and we were like, "Okay, that's cool AF."
You mean we could have velociraptors this whole time? Throws all the coins out the window.
Anything about dinosaurs?
Instead of killing people.
Now, to your DM's credit, twice. The second time being when they were able to like pivot and steer this in a direction that made the players comfortable and happy. But even like in the beginning, like that's a cool mechanic. Now, I don't have the same experiences that player had, and my take on a fantasy game is that's far from the worst thing my characters have ever done. But not to take away from your player's experience with that. But that's kind of a cool mechanic. I'm not even mad at that. It could be tweaked a little bit so that maybe they're dinosaur coins. Maybe you
I think
maybe you pick them up 5 per level,
all,
Super Mario style. I don't know.
All souls of the damned, like a little bit. You could really lean into that and like add to their torture. I don't know. It can get really dark in our D&D games.
I can start with like just getting the coins out of nowhere. They're already in coin form, and then slowly realizing where they came from, and then finding the soul mining group, and then killing them. Mm-hmm. And players are just handing you this free arc. It's like, here, DM, take my story arc and give it back to me, please.
It was really traumatic for a lot of us, I would say.
Sure.
But we all learned a lot and walked away laughing, so it was worth it. And he loved the merciful end. That was one of his favorite tools to use.
That is a cool one, yeah.
And it was very interesting for a vampire to have that. No, not like true vampire, but to have that wielding that sword.
Little vampy boy.
Yeah.
And the other like most important thing we're taking away from this is that it almost seems too easy, but most of the problems are solved by having a little sit-down chat, little chit-chat with your players.
Yes, just and make sure there's like open conversation between members, especially the DM and players, always.
Yeah.
I know that can be hard, and it's easier said than done because I'm best friends with my entire group, so it's a little easier for me than it might be for others, but it's worth being uncomfortable for a minute rather than being uncomfortable for 4 hours of a session.
Or 4 hours of 8 sessions.
Yeah, exactly.
Over the course of months.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a thing we'll run into sometimes that I will see on some of the both horror stories and DM Academy is people say, we're good friends. We've known each other for years. We don't need safety tools. And like you still need some ground rules for how those conversations work. They can be understood, but everybody has to feel free to speak up for themselves because you don't want to create that situation where it's like, oh, we're friends, so I can't say anything about how I feel bad about this. Yeah,
definitely. I get in that situation. I have to be careful with my DM sometimes because I am in a relationship with my DM. So I need to be honest, which is my personality, but also the girlfriend at the same time and approach it with a bit of nicety. It's a fine line walking. And to be honest, it's only made our bond stronger the years that we've been going on.
This is something we brought up on the show before, and I think this was a DM Academy thing from a few episodes back. But a player had written, typed up, printed out table rules, and they included what their lines are for the type of stuff that they will and will not include in their campaign. We on the show kind of workshopped it a little bit, changed some of the language, and I edited it a little bit further from my own taste. And I'm now running one shots at a local game store here. And before each session, before we even do anything, once the players all sitting down, it's like, okay, before we even talk actual game stuff, here's 6 things I want you guys to keep in mind. This is for both your and my comfort. And it includes stuff like that. And one of them, I think the last one is, and I'm paraphrasing here as I don't have it in front of me, but, if anything for any reason is upsetting or out of your comfort zone, you can tell me in this way. You can text me, email me, whatever. If it's these are mostly one shots, so if this is if it's a severe issue, feel free to stop the game, pull me aside, talk to me. If you don't want to bring it up to the whole table, like I give them ways to actually bring these things up. And that's to make sure that they know how seriously I'm taking it, and B, these are one shots. We don't have 2 months to stew on it. And
you're there for everyone to have a good time.
Yeah, and these are store level one shots made for new players. I didn't think there would be anything that would be an issue. That doesn't mean I can't have the tool in place there. And one of the campaigns was the very short version of it is we were dealing with a polymorphing wizard, and every single fight was against polymorphed guards that were turned into animals. And we had a player who was a huge animal rights activist and didn't really like stabbing gorillas in the face. Unfortunately, I didn't really have a plan B for that one, but
that's
good to know that, like, something that I thought would never be an issue. It's like, okay, we don't want to kill people. There's beasts. Beasts are in the game. They have an intelligence of 1. They're and it's just a different thing. So some people don't like killing people. Some people don't like killing beasts. Maybe we'll just do door unlock puzzles next time. I have no idea what else to do with the third option. But that's me as a baby DM. It is my responsibility to come up with an option.
That's true. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that scenario was already pre-written, and I didn't really have much else to do. But that's a problem for another time.
Yeah, I fall into that. Punching Nazis is perfectly fine, but kicking puppies is no good.
These were not puppies
out there, so that's
These were gorillas with broadswords coming at you.
Okay.
All right. But yeah, it sounds like all's well that ends well. Is that kind of where we're leaving this?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. It's that the DM learned to listen a little bit better, and everyone walked away happy. So all I want to say is keep in mind when we read these horror stories that sometimes all's well that ends well. All's well that ends well. It's not always bad.
This is a very awe type of story. Can we get a 1, 2, 3?
I bring the warm fuzzies.
Aww.
Oh no.
Warm and or fuzzies. Melissa's gonna be joining us for the next couple of shows. So I hope you liked her because she's not going anywhere for a little bit. But thanks so much for listening. Melissa, thank you so much for bringing your story up. You can check out Melissa's music at Action Rabbit and her side project, Sour Candy, as well. Links to her stuff will be in the show notes, and you can check out her little, that's an Instagram handle if you're watching the video. But that's all we got for today. Jim, thank you so much. Melissa, thank you so much for joining us. Very cool to see you again. And we will see not only you guys, we'll see Melissa as well on the next episode. Thank you, adventurers.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Curmudgeons and Dragons. Please share this with your favorite adventurers and leave a review. If you have a tale we should tell, please send it to us at curmudgeonsanddragons.com/contact for consideration. You are now out of initiative.